Alright, so gonna go over some stuff that I went in my lecture yesterday on Meyer shrine cut and guards and other things, but to be a little bit more specific on some things, there's also kind of a training video for people to work with, and it's not the absolute end all. Because guards can have variations and flex and move, and they're just checkpoints. Your footwork just determines your options with it. So when it comes to Meyer's discussion on these, he talks about Eisenport and then the cross guard for shrine cut. He tells you the hands, go look at image G or whatever it is. And in that image, it actually shows the left foot forward when you're in shrine cut. Versus to where in the other older manuals and stuff, we see it where you've already made the step. So there's reasoning behind this, and for me, it comes in Meyer's Dusac, which is where he's always talking about the cross cuts. He's talking about the provoke, take, hit, or in other options. So we have to think about it is that this initial cut that we're going to do is my provoking action. If anything, just to see what they're going to do and respond, and then I can go from there. Which also gives us more insight into the glute towel and other things. Yes, we could be sitting there into it, but it's kind of an entertaining moment because now I've cut in, they're coming, and I can now wrap around. So I'm going to go over a couple of quick drills on that. The footwork first, and then we will, I'll go over the footwork positioning and all that because it's important, and then I'll go from there. Alright. Coffee's down. So on the footwork options, when we make our initial cut, we're in our closed stance, which is just your basic middle stance and all that. You're throwing your cut and you're turning that foot into the opposed position, which can then launch you in this direction or a variety of others. But as I'm cutting into here, this is where I want to initially do. So your first cut should get you here, right? So that's the opposed footwork. Other cool thing about this is this launches, and you can launch straight off to a nice more out of offline moments. The other thing too is I can strike to here, come back with a simple turning of the hips on the balls of the feet, and then work any other scopes I want, right? So that post footwork is important here. And I'll be shifting cameras and angles, and I apologize for all the crap here. All right. So on this aspect of it, Meyer likes to talk about the cross cuts. So in Dusac, it's boom, boom, cut short, cut to the wrist. He talks about these strikes being efficient in all combat. So longsword, cool, I can boom, boom, right? It also works. When you're doing all long edge, it's slightly slower. I can also be here, though this cut to draw short because I didn't make a step yet, come straight into the opposed footwork, and look, I'm now in that shrine cut, and I can come back with the false edge. Right? So you can sit here and just boom, bam, and back away. So it's really good at taking the arms and all that process, which is, again, the cross cuts, right? So the drilling of what I want to go over with this is like the options. So first piece, we're going to be here, be on the shoulder if we want to be back in Zorn Hood. You can be on high even if you want. Come off to that side. Throw that initial cut. Pop that left hand through. You're now in that shrine cut position. From here, we'll make a step into this direction. Being at the case is that this is our provoke. So if they've done nothing, well, I can come back around and hit them with the false edge. But most times when you make a big cut action, even if you're out of distance, a lot of times somebody's going to react. So by doing so, I've cut, my opponent's now cutting it at me. I'm now going to take that blade away from it to here, right? If I can break through and hit them in the head in the process, even great. I'm now suppressing their lines and everything works. If not, I have control of the blade and I do a third movement. So I can just boom. Or, step back out. Boom, boom. And keeping a lot more tighter and efficient movements. Excuse me. I can also cut into here, step forward into regular stride, and come back. Then you also have the glutes, or the glancing strike. So for me in this process, the provoking actions, as is constantly talked about, is that I've thrown this cut to here. In the process of me throwing this cut, my opponent is now coming at my head. Right? So boom, bam. Generally, you're either going to hit with the edge into the face, or you'll stab the crap out of their throat. You can also use the same movement in your own action if they do nothing. If they're sitting here, or if they're just constantly like they're waiting to parry, or they're not sure and they're cautious, cool, you can make an assault and you're now doing a plunge with it, right? So you're now doing much more of a sturts, right? So you can boom. Another thing too is if at any point you're interrupted and you're not ready to change through into the position, you can step raise into a hanging and then cut out. The other portions that you can do is if you don't even make it to that full length, you get to here, as you're changing through, you can now just rise up to a wind up into Einhorn, so you're now doing the wind howl, and cut out. So again, guards are secondary positions, or checkpoints for you to go through a lot of your list. Focus is probably crap right now. But that's even freaking worse. Jesus. Anyway, so quick drilling that we'll go back through all the drills real fast as we got the explanation out the way. First movement, no step. We're just going to turn the foot. Boom, boom. Right, so you're cutting across this line, this line, this line, this line. True edge, false edge. True edge, false edge. Right? Second drill. We're going to be here. We're going to cut through. And we're going to step in with that false edge. Whether it be going into the hands, take the sword. From here you can work everything else you want. Have fun with the options. So, cut to here and step when you make the false edge. Okay? 3, we'll do the glutes. Right? So we're cutting to here, and you're bringing your hands higher up into the process to strike in. For this one, you're stepping a lot more laterally out. So you're trying to make sure you get a good transverse, which the opposed footwork shoots you in that direction. Boom. Right? From this. Wow. Specialness. Can tell I haven't had enough coffee this morning. Fuck me, man. Right. Last piece on that. Glutes, plunge. Plunge, we're going to step a little bit more directly in. So from here, we're going to cut down, launch in. Cut down, launch in. Now the plunge, try to picture your height a little bit better. I have a bad tendency to keep it way high and I can open up openings. So, boom, boom. After that, because I'm a professional moment, and a bonus feature is actually about doing it in secondary actions, right? So I've cut in and I made a step this time. Boom, I've hit the bind, I can ausreißen or just crump down into it. I've made a cross step into the process of that. By doing so, I'm now back in that left shrine. Make another simple step, and I can just circle and constantly keep cutting on that same plane. Right? So bind, boom. Because you're changing your body, even though I'm still cutting that same pocket, I'm using different edges and different mechanics into the process, right? So it's the boom. Anyway, I hope those help. Hope it was somewhat of an explanation.